Hey there, welcome to the Reinsurance Podcast, the place where we dive into all things reinsurance, the coolest part of insurance. We're your hosts, Jared and Ben, a couple of ex-practitioners who loved the industry so much we founded Supercede to tackle some of its biggest headaches. And we're here to share our insights and stories with expert guests as we uncover what's really going on in the industry.
Welcome back, everybody. Excited to continue our investigation and discovery of the Under-35s Reinsurance Group, this time with Jenny Tilley. Jenny, welcome. You are responsible for sports and social activities, so we're really excited to dive into not only the calendar, but the why and everything else. But before we do that, tell us a bit about yourself and how you got into reinsurance.
Yeah, so similar path to a lot of people, didn't ever heard of the word reinsurance when I was at university. I actually studied archaeological science, so it wasn't like the direct link straight into the reinsurance industry. I applied to everything that everyone else was doing. So I was at Durham University, but I just applied to accounting, consulting, not really having any idea what I was even really applying to. So yeah, didn't get any of the grad schemes. So decided to take a year off. And in that year, just sort of explored like the wider financial services. I knew I wanted to work in London in the finance space, but didn't really know what. So I asked around as many people as I could and managed to get some work experience at a reinsurance broker.
Nice.
At Capsicum Re, and then that went on to a work placement at an MGA. So I was there for like 6 weeks, and during that time I was able to understand the insurance industry a little bit more. And then I started just looking on LinkedIn and seeing what possible jobs fell into the space, like just typing in broker, and got a grad scheme that started in September 2017 in the casualty treaty team at Beach & Associates, which was now
very
called
cool.
Actuary.
Yeah.
But
Nice. And I guess in Beach you had a past chair of the committee,
Yes.
which was that how you found out about the Under-35s?
It is, yeah, exactly, yeah. So Amy Potton was on the committee when I first joined Beach, and yeah, she very much made sure that everybody attended all the events, which was fantastic. When I would have heard of it, but something we could probably talk about. But it was great to have her like saying, look, this is a fantastic opportunity, especially when you first start, to meet other people, because otherwise you just sort of only know the people in your own company when you're first new. Yeah. So for me, I learned about the Under-35s definitely through her.
And what was what sort of drove you to want to join the committee, and then especially sort of take the helm of the sort of sports and social side of it? What was your inspiration there?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, Amy was a big advocate, or is a big advocate for the Under-35. So I think she sort of very much got me involved in all the events where I could. And then when I realised that actually I could also make an impact on some of the events, or create my own events, or or like a collaborative with the committee, but having like a say in what we do, I think that's what made me think, actually, it would be really great just to be involved. And I think also by being on the committee, you've sort of got 15 others that you can really network and get on well with. So I think like having a big sell for me was actually just like really getting to know other people in the market outside of my own company. Because obviously you speak to, so I was a broker, I'm now on this in a syndicate, but it's so relationship focused, our whole industry. So I think by going to these events, yes, but actually being a member of the committee, it really helps solidify those networks.
Well, and the social side and the events is such an accessible way to sort of be maybe new to London or new to the industry, but feel like, well, I like cycling, or I like going to the cricket. I can join along, and it's not, you don't feel like overwhelmed by it. It's quite an easy thing. You've done
I've done loads of them. Yeah, I still go now, which is when I can sneak in, which is good fun.
Well, you did a cycling one, which you were ill prepared for, if I recall.
Well, so as usual, but I was going to ask you, because I don't actually know the answer myself. But can you remember what your first event was that you attended? And I should ask you what your first one that you organised was.
Yeah.
As well. Yeah.
Probably. So I think the first event, it must have been the winter party.
Yep.
So I started on the grad scheme in September, and the winter party's in November. So sort of any intake sort of goes along with that, and it's, very good fun. And I think that's often the way that people hear about the under 35s, just because it's, this year we had about just over 600 people attend. A few years ago, it was slightly less than that, but anyway, everybody would be talking about it. So that was probably my first event. But what was the first event I organised? Possibly either the winter party, actually, a couple of years ago, or the beginner golf days.
Oh, of course.
So as someone who doesn't play golf, essentially, I know that it's, it is quite big in our industry. A lot of people do play, and it's a lot of time where, you can network with others that play. So I thought it would be good. We always had like a beginner contingent to the main golf day where, people that have never played golf before can turn up and have a short lesson or just be involved. But so the first thing that I really properly organised was having a completely separate day. So we host, for the first year we did it in 2023, we had one day, and it was so successful and so sold out. We had a waiting list of double the amount of people in there. So we have 2 days last year, and we have 2 days coming up. But this is we hold it at Sunningdale Heath, and there's sort of between 25 and 40 people that turn up every event, and they have coaching for 2 hours and Texas Scramble in the afternoon. And what it really allows is for people that aren't confident to go on those main golf days and not have not have that way of going, even if they enjoy it and they play, they can't go straight into an 18 hole and feel confident with their peers that might be playing off a very low handicap. So I think for me that was probably my most
That's really
cool.
I think that inclusivity piece is like incredible, because you're right, there's things that sound fun or your bosses do, but like you've only done once, and there's no way you're going to go and put yourself in that environment, so you opt out. But this presents a way for you to sort of opt in more easily, and it's super powerful, especially for people who are new to the industry or new to the city or similar. So it's really,
absolutely.
What are there other ones that you're looking at in the year ahead as we sort of enter into 2025 that are in a similar vein of like, people have interest here, but we're going to try to increase accessibility to a category or a sport or an activity of some sort?
Yeah, so I think there is one club that we sort of tried to start up. We did start it up, but it definitely needs to be built on in 2025, and that's the Under 35s Running Club. I think so. We started to, as a committee, think about what is a good way to get others to meet. This is actually throughout every event we do, but people to meet other people like-minded in a social setting that's more relaxed and not, so they can sign up on their own, not feel like you have to be in a group, not have to prove anything, etc. So the Run Club felt like the right level for that, in the sense that it wasn't like an elite. We're not trying to sell it as like a actually run club. It's more like a lunchtime session where you have anyone that's available come down, run at the pace you want, buddy with someone, go for whatever distance run you want. We set sort of a 5K, 5 kilometre loop. But again, we had a 3 kilometre option, a 10 kilometre option, just for those however they want to, if it will walk or run, whatever. So I think that's something that we really want to restart again in 2025. The reason why it's sort of, because we're a volunteer committee, and to begin with, it needs sort of it needs time from the committee to be available at that Tuesday lunchtime. So I think we're going to shift it a little bit in 2025, and then hopefully, whether it's a WhatsApp community chat or however it is, so that people around, because we had over 200 people want to do this running club, so that we know there's interest. We just have to try and like have it so people can maybe post on the WhatsApp chat and then join others, rather than just led by the committee.
We could make a competition to the JP Morgan run, right? Where
Yes.
all the banks do
that's the ultimate thing.
all the syndicates have their own T-shirts, and it's like that'd be
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
You've got support from Supercede on this one, I
Great.
think. So.
I'll be taking
We have
that.
a pretty decent team, actually.
Yeah.
There's some seriously good runners.
Yeah.
Not myself.
No, it sounds fun, and it's such an important part of how we remain social. Like we talk all the time about how important relationships and being social and the networks you build in this community are, and sort of central to that is the under 35s and the role that those events play. One, to build your network beyond just your company, because if all you do is broke property cat in one broker underwrite. You know the 14 people, either your underwriters or your brokers in that specific class and geography. And this lets you go, oh, someone I met in aviation at this underwriter, the syndicate who does cyber or what. It just opens up such a broader array of access. So it's a profoundly important part of the early journey in this industry. And I think it makes London especially special in that same way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I remember doing one actually, the golf day last year, because again, long ago I was an underwriter. Long ago I was in the market, but we're not in the market in the same way now.
Yeah.
More sort of on the technology with client side. So I signed up for the golf day and random entry. I think I had planned long ago to go with somebody or something, but I was like, you know what, let's just see what happens. And I ended up in a group of 4 of us where there was at one end of the spectrum, I think somebody who was an intern or a grad, but literally had been in the industry for 3 weeks kind of thing. And that they were here for this golf day.
Nice.
Cool, let's find out about reinsurance. And then you had somebody else who'd been in the industry for, 10, 15 years and had been to every under 35 event ever. And then me and somebody else. And none of us had met each other before. By the end, we left as close friends with loads more knowledge about each other's niches within the market, which you always find more of. So it is so good for that. It's incredible what you get out of these events from my experience.
I think also because you can sign up individually, I think that is also what we really drive, as I sort of said. You signed up to the golf day. We sort of encourage people to have a solo ticket. We don't have bulk tickets for things, and actually we've had caps before of saying no more than 4. You can't purchase more than 4, just so that actually you do have solo attendance, so that it not forces, but it allows you to network with others. And it's really powerful for that. And it's really unique. The under 35s creates that. Yeah,
it's a really good point, because if you go to an event and there's 3 people you already know, it's sort of where you sort of stick with all night. And this presents a really powerful way to be like, well, I only know one other person here, but there's so many people involved that I can sort of branch out and see, and everyone's got that shared sort of experience of being in the industry, or at least being curious about the industry, which is super exciting.
Absolutely. And often they're at, a sporting occasion or whatever it is, that at least you don't, it's not just in a room and everyone just blindly speak to people. You have, a connection watching cricket or whatever it may be, playing paddle or going play golf or whatever it is. So,
Nice. How do you choose? So obviously you can't put on every single event for every single sport or social activity. How do you choose which ones to run?
Yeah, I think that's it's a really good question, because I think, so our aim is just to be as broad and inclusive as we possibly can within the under 35. So you can't just have one sport or one occasion, because it's not going to suit everybody. So often what we'll do as a committee, obviously there's 16 of us, even though there's only 4 of us in the sports and social team, we'll obviously speak amongst ourselves and think about what's, people are talking about, or what people want to do. But often we might have some of our, friends and peers across the under 35s platform that just say, oh, it'd be really good if you did polo in the park and had enough tickets for that, or it'd be really good if there was some sort of paddle day or whatever it is. So I think we're just, that feedback we can just then filter through into the wider committee. And often, it might be something that it's probably a bit too hard to organise from us, because maybe it's a bit too much time. But if it is something easy where, bulk buy 100 tickets for the cricket or whatever it is, it's something that's actually that we can do relatively easy. So I think that is part of it. But we're very much open to suggestions and events, and it's a growing event list. I think we have over 10. We try and do something every month. So we look at the sports and social calendar and try and have something at least to to look forward to.
Nice. Where can listeners see what's on and keep track? What's the best way to stay in touch with your events?
So yeah, I think the best way is still our mailing list. So just from the Under 35s Reinsurance Group website. But also we try and put everything on LinkedIn as well. We're going to be being better at doing like a go forward calendar. So we've done that over the last year, and we'll definitely look to do it for 2025. So it just has like saved the date. Like it might not necessarily, or like November, this is coming, so that people are more aware of those events. But yeah, I would say, we have an Instagram as well. So I think we've got some good communication officers that will probably be good to keep get that one up.
Yeah.
Nice. Jared showed me how to use Instagram the other day.
Exactly. I had to put my bifocals on. It was the whole thing. No, that's super. We'll put show notes, links in the show notes to the Instagram, as well as the other sort of mailing lists and everything else on this, because it's how do you sort of get in front of that audience where they're most accessible, right? TikTok, Instagram being places that as they're sort of perusing through things, like, oh, that's right, that is coming. Like it just becomes a thing that reminds them, in addition to being in their inbox with work, which is crowded with loads of other things going on. So it's just a really powerful way to make sure you're staying front of mind and getting that group in attendance up. But the attendance has been huge recently for things. We're
really
sort of
good.
just talking about the growth of the under 35s and sort of, and again, not to say we're, anything to the groups from before, but the growth of like doubling the size of events that you had maybe 3 or 4 years ago, it just is showing the continued effort of the group to be engaging is something that's really driving a lot of increased involvement, which is excellent to see, and I think really good for the space going forward. Any other additional, so we're running up on time, so anything else you want to bring up around what's coming up? What do people need to know as they listen to this podcast, excited about the under 35s now and going, I want to get involved. What's next? What's the next thing they should be looking forward to?
Yeah, I think just like, I genuinely think that anything that you have that you want to do, don't be afraid to reach out to the committee. There's 16 of us that represent quite a broad range of lines of business, different jobs, etc. So just if there is something that you find that you think that'd be a great idea for the under 35s, please just do get in touch. But also just look out for our main sports and social calendar. Obviously, I'd be biased towards that, but yeah, I think that's pretty much what I'd say. Is we're trying to be inclusive to everything and just be excited.
We'll help them find the right things with
Thank you.
So perfect. Well, it's been a wonderful having you on the show. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks for tuning in to the Reinsurance Podcast. If you enjoyed our show, don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and leave us a review to let us know how we're doing, preferably 5 stars. For more insights and updates, follow us on LinkedIn and visit our website at supercede.com/podcasts. You'll find the links in the show notes.